Now, despite the Northwest University indicating that it has now reached full capacity for the 2024 academic year, some students are still flocking to the institution's Mahikeng campus to check their admission status. Some of the students who've been rejected by the institution, or rather have been rejected by that institution since 2022. Some of them are also awaiting a response around funding. Student formations, including the EFF Student Command and SASCO, say solutions to the challenges are long overdue. To get you a sense of how it's all unfolding on the ground, bring in Refiloe Seboko, who joins us now from that institution. And from what I can see, Refiloe, it seems like it's relatively business as usual. How is this Wednesday morning unfolding?
Well, it is relatively business as usual, but not for those who still come to the institution to check their admission. You remember that the institution has released a statement to say that they have reached its full capacity with 11,700 students that have been accommodated, having received about over 180,000 applications. But it's still the challenge of other students who still come here, even though the institution has said that they are not going to allow any walk-ins. Like you said, Ayanda student formations are also saying that this is a challenge that is long, or its solution is long overdue. Thank you so much, Zenzo, and welcome to Newzroom Afrika. Let's first start of an issue of, students not being allowed to this institution as a result of it having reached its full capacity.
Well, thank you, my sister. It's a problem, the situation that we are having. You will remember that the basic education had announced that there are about 800,000 students who sit for their matric. But in Northwest University, particularly in the 180,000 applications that they received, they only reserve space for about 11,700, meaning that there are many students who are left out of the system who are not going to be able to continue or to further their own studies. So to us, that is a problem, and it also shows us that from the hybrid system that we're using during COVID-19, the university has not learned anything, because the university went straight into on-contact teaching and learning, whereby they could have at least maybe did the hybrid or continue with the hybrid process so that they can accommodate more students who are actually passing their matrics very well. We equally have a situation whereby there's a student who will be rejected since from maybe 2021, and the student keeps on applying and applying but keeps on rejecting. When you go to the student and check, you'll find out the student has an APS score of 35. So that the university actually doesn't have a system of even evaluating and checking that, because they usually rely on us to come to them and say, but this student has an APS of 35. How are you rejecting such a student? But in the very same field, you have accepted a student of 29. So that gives us a clear picture that actually the university doesn't have a system whereby they can check whether the student has been applying. We actually even question the level of their vetting process, or how they actually go about with their criteria, because if you can then reject a student who has 35 APS and then enroll a student of 39, it gives us a problem. So that is the current situation that we are having. We're having a long line here in the university. Some of them, we even refer them to other institutions across South Africa. You were also talking about a challenge of students and in relation to their NSFAS applications. Yes, my sister, you remember that last year we had students who were trapped in the university even in the period of festive season, whereby NSFAS didn't disperse actually their last allowance, which is their 10th allowance. So we actually trying to solve the problem now, and it's only now when the university is coming onto our side to say we have communicated with NSFAS, and then we are starting at least to disperse the allowance. Some of the students at the minimum rate have received the allowance, but we actually want to condemn the university for actually sitting and not doing anything during the period of festive, while they know that it's themselves who have the allowance of the students. Because we did also go to make a research on our own as the organization to check whether how do NARACO disperse the allowance. And NARACO did explain to us that they actually disperse allowance upon the list that they receive from NSFAS that pay this particular student. So it means that during July, it's the university that didn't pay the students and they kept the money on them. They're only coming into party now, whereby now they see that the students have actually embarked on a social media strike. In short, just before I hand over, what are the solutions that you are saying they are long overdue to resolve these challenges that the institution is facing? Well, the challenges that are long overdue is the challenges of actually expanding the institution so that we can deal with this issue of capacity. Students are rejected to capacity. We also have a lack of maladministration within the institution where you will find out spaces are being sold by the manager. We have a case of last year whereby one of the management was actually fired from the institution. So those are the problems. We need the institution to actually have a clear vetting process of who are they taking and who are they rejecting, so that we know, so that they become open and transparent.
Thank you so much for your time. Zenzo Sazo, he is the secretary of the EFF Student Command here in the Northwest University, weighing in on challenges that are faced by the institution and some of the solutions that they think that they could be able to solve. As you can see, that board students are here, some are sitting here, but there is that banner there that says no walk-ins. The institution has reached its full capacity.
Sure, an all too familiar sight, I'm afraid, especially at this time of the year in higher education. Refiloe, Seboko, live to us there from Mahikeng in the Northwest. Thanks very much indeed.